Overnight, Austin City Council decided voters are going to make the ultimate decision on ride-sharing rules.
Here we go. Around 11 o'clock last night, Council voted down Uber and Lyft's petition that did not require fingerprint background checks. Kate Whitehouse is live for us at City Hall with the overnight details. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, the council didn't even take their vote until 11 o'clock last night. And what they ended up deciding was to take this whole thing to an election so you can end up deciding. But there was a lot of behind the scenes work to all of this. I want to introduce you to Mike Kanan with the Austin Monitor. Of course, we see it every single week. You were here till 1 o'clock this morning. Now, the mayor was really working hard to kind of work out a last minute deal. What was that exactly?
So he had a memorandum of understanding that he had going into the day an agreement with Lyft that basically laid out the program he's been pushing, a sort of voluntary participation in the program that might incentivize fingerprinting, that sort of stuff. In fact, we watched him sort of disappear off the dais for a big chunk of the afternoon trying to work out the details. In the end, it didn't really work out.
But he ended up getting the agreement with Uber and Lyft. They agreed to this whole thing, but then he couldn't get his council members to agree to it.
Yeah, that was the thing. It sounds like it would have been sort of an unprecedented deal. Folks typically have a binary relationship, I think, as he might term it, with Lyft and Uber. And in this case, he'd worked out sort of a third way. In the end, he couldn't whip the votes. I think what was the count? 281, I think, was the final vote that would have sort of kicked off the process that he was behind. Unclear if he had any more than 4 votes of anybody to vote for the memorandum of understanding. It was not, I don't think, going to be a successful night in that for him.
And the memorandum was going to allow for voluntary fingerprint background checks, so then drivers could end up receiving incentives if they receive those background checks, which was the ultimate thing they wanted. So now, next week, council's going to meet to decide the ballot language.
Yep, they're going to meet to decide the ballot language. They'll officially set the date, which I'm guessing will be May 7th. We're guessing will be May 7th, and then we're off to a vote in May.
And voters deciding whether or not fingerprint background checks are important to them, as some city council members say it's important to them. Mike, as always, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We certainly appreciate it. So again, next week they'll be meeting to decide how this is all going to be worked out. They were supposed to do that today, but ended up canceling that meeting. So certainly a lot still to come on this story. For now, we're live outside Austin City Hall. Kate Whitehouse, KXAN News.
Kate, thank you. Just before midnight, Uber and Lyft sent us reaction to the major decision. An Uber spokesperson said tens of thousands of people have made it clear they want to keep ride sharing in Austin. Tonight, council missed an opportunity. Lyft says, in part, we look forward to continued collaboration with a diverse array of groups dedicated to keeping ride sharing as a safe and affordable option in Austin. End quote. By the way, Uber says it is willing to pay more than $28 million over 2 class action lawsuits it's facing. The company is accused of misleading customers. The lawsuits claim Uber charged users a fee for what it calls industry-leading background checks on drivers. But the lawsuit claims the company does not do the fingerprint checks required for taxi drivers. Here's a sample of the fee an Austin driver was charged, $1.30. It is labeled a safe ride fee. Well, the fee varies across the country. It's different for every city. Under the settlement, Uber would rename its safe ride fee into something called a booking fee. The settlement is still pending approval. Uber users were charged the fee from 2013 all the way up until last month.